yo tengo aquí es pa' ti, pa' mí, ¿pa' qué? Es pa' ti, pa' mí, ¿pa' qué? Pa' hacerte feliz.
Ese amor que yo tengo aquí es pa' ti, pa' mí, ¿pa' qué? Es pa' ti, pa' mí, ¿pa' qué? Pa' hacerte feliz.
Los rayos del sol, el aguacero, un pedazo del inmenso mar. Nada de tu es para impresionar. Cambiaré la armonía para podértelo explicar. Oye, mamá, es que tú me gustas tanto, no te lo puedo negar, que todo lo que tú me pidas te lo voy a regalar.
Ese amor que yo tengo aquí es pa' ti, pa' mí,
Pa' que tú veas lo que siento.
pa' ti, pa' mí,
¿Pa' qué?
pa' hacerte feliz.
Y los aretes que le faltan a la luna, un yate, un Ferrari, una casa en Miramar.
Ese amor que yo tengo aquí es pa' ti, pa' mí,
Todo lo que tengo te lo voy a regalar.
pa' hacerte feliz.
Vamos, métale que no miente. Dale, mantener. Ahí nada más. Y mira, y sigue.
Si tú eres feliz con lo que te di, yo te daré más.
Lo que tú quieras yo te
Lo
doy.
que tú me pidas te lo traigo, mamá.
Pide por esa boca, mamita.
Feliz con lo que te di, yo te daré más. Lo que tú me pidas te lo traigo, mamá.
Vamos para allá, la
Si
verdad.
tú eres feliz con lo que te di, yo te daré más.
Ey,
Lo que tú me pidas te lo
lo que
traigo,
tú
mamá.
me pidas te lo traigo, mamá.
Si eres feliz,
Si eres feliz,
yo te daré más.
yo te daré más.
Lo que tú me pidas te lo traigo, mamá.
Vamos, métale que no miente. Lo que tú quieras, mami.
Wow. Wow. Hey, everyone. This is Diamond Rivera of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast, all the way from New York City. And you just saw an amazing routine by our guest tonight, Serena Spears, as well as her partner, Kate. And today, people, before we get started, this episode is sponsored by Dubakshata Radio, where you can listen to this interview in high quality as well. Catch us on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcast and other streaming platforms. And tonight, people, we have an amazing guest for episode 134, the one and only Serena Spears.
Hello, how are you doing?
Oh my God, Serena, I'm doing amazing. But that video you had, just seeing the body movement, the shoulders, the facial expressions, everything is just giving me life.
Thank you so much. I love it.
Yes, I mean, hey, we haven't been together in the same circles in a while, especially now. Things are slowly getting back to some type of normalcy. But again, Serena, I'm really thankful that we have you on the platform tonight to share your story, share your experiences, but also really to celebrate the success that you've had thus far and will continue to have in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. I mean, for me, as well as an artist to an artist, having a platform for me like this means a lot, because being able to document artists that I know have seen on stage, maybe performed with at one point, having their stories told before maybe their stories aren't told or someone else is telling it for them. Me now allowing the artist to take it in their control and really share their meaningful stories with us and really help inspire a new generation of artists and creatives. And also, before we get started, letting you know that throughout the interview, we may be having live comments coming in. For example, got to give a big shout out to Ifosa.
Salsa.
Out here saying definitely going to stream it on my drive right now. Man,
Enjoy
this
a salsa. And drive
absolutely.
safe.
Yes, drive safely, definitely. And again, Serena, having you on means a lot because having you sharing your story, realizing for me, with over the 100 guests that I've had on, many artists and creatives that I've had on, their stories are very unique. And for me, understanding or celebrating success that you've had thus far is great, but I think also it's really important understanding really the starting process, how everything really began, understanding the human being before the artistry. So, as I do with every guest, I love asking this question is really, Serena, for me, tell me who Serena Spears is before dance.
Before dance. That's a very intense question. I I I honestly think that dance is first and foremost for me in
Mm,
a way that um, I'm I'm not sure many people experience. Like and it's not just any particular form. Aw, thank you. But just movement and music married together, like
mm,
as an experience. I feel like not a day goes by that I don't do it or watch it or think about it or analyze it or um, just like dream about it. And
mm,
I don't have any specific future goals, which is kind of strange. I feel like
mhm,
when people get obsessed with a thing, they have like an end point that they dream about, and I just don't have one. I just have this like overwhelming obsessive urge to keep digging in every
mm.
direction for life, I think.
And that's really introspective, really understanding it, because many people can see it as simplistic, but when you take it there, that really shows how much thought you put in, how much thought you put into it. And for me, seeing you whether you've done your belly dancing, and also you in other projects as well, I think it's really important understanding kind of when I ask that question, so many artists say, when wasn't dance in my life?
Yes.
So well, and really also understanding then who is Serena, before the scene, before the belly dancing, what was really the upbringing like for you?
Mm. So I think uh, for me there were two sides of dance. There was
Hmm.
the like formal education in
Yeah.
dance, of like Western forms, but also like African dance forms, but
Hmm.
also the like just the free form side of dance where no one's telling you what to do and there's no
Hmm.
expectation of what is supposed to come out of you.
Yeah.
It's just a pure expression of how you're feeling, and I feel like I got that very early. um,
Mm.
and so I had both sides, but I think the free form caught me first. That like even before I can remember, like my dad tells me stories about how I used to watch like Michael Jackson videos on MTV and like copy him and just dance around the living room as a
Yeah.
small child. Um, and so I just had this like overwhelming urge to move before someone told me what it had to be.
Oh.
Um, and I actually, so like I studied ballet early, ballet, tap, a little bit of modern, but I actually got out of it, like not because of me, but just from like financial
Yeah.
situation at home. But I got out of it, I feel, before it really turned into the mind games of what your body image should be, and what you have to choose as a pathway in dance. And I think I was sad at the time, but as I look back on it, I realized that I'm incredibly lucky to
Mm.
have not experienced any of that negativity that
Yeah.
came with that side of dance.
Yeah.
As you go through sort of like puberty while dancing.
Mm.
Um, and so it remained this free form experience that was only positive for much of my like formative years in a way that I
Wow.
feel I don't hear from most people. I feel like dancers
Hmm.
that like grew up dancing still have this like sort of teenage years of feeling inadequate or feeling like they were too thin or too fat or too short or too tall or like something's
Hmm.
wrong with my legs for whatever dance form I was doing. And like I'm lucky that I never really had that.
Mm. And it's interesting to say because I know where you're going because a lot of times you're hearing a lot of dancers' stories, the competitive aspect, the kind of trials and tribulations. But it's really interesting hearing a person like yourself saying, I really went through a really positive experience growing up within this. And that's an example of saying you can have those two worlds. You can have the quintessential cliche story of really grinding it out. And then you can also have the story of just dancing really the life away and growing like that and really still becoming well rounded. I mean, hey, not it's not always going to be a bring it on situation. It's not always going to be, a stomp the yard situation. But, for me, seeing an artist like yourself saying, you started like many with ballet and African dance and um, you, like you said, growing up in Long Island as well. My question now to you is when did you kind of find yourself in that New York kind of dance scene? Because, many people have that story of coming to New York and, making it really big. What was kind of your New York story?
um, so I don't okay. When I was a teenager, maybe like 18 or 19, when
Hmm.
I finally had a car and I had the freedom to travel, I started coming into New York to take classes, even while I was living still out on Long Island. And
Mm.
I started meeting dancers in class who would tell me like, "Oh, you should go to so and so party on the weekend." So like I would come in and like kind of dip my toe in a little bit, but like I wasn't here.
Yeah.
I only moved here after college. I got a job in the city, and I spent a year commuting back and forth between Long Island and here, and it was so awful. Once the parties ended at 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
um, the LIRR sometimes wasn't running anymore, and so you'd have to sit
Ooh.
in Penn Station until the first 5 o'clock train on the way out. So like you had to make sure that you caught the last train, or else you got stuck. Um,
Oh.
I had
I
a few
mean,
of those.
hey, well, we can actually say now that that positive outlook and that positive journey kind of took a detour there. I mean, you get to 18, 19, and wow, adulthood really kicks in. And, I understand for a lot of people, I know that LIRR was a pain back in those days of you really have to time whether you want that last dance or do you want to make your trip back home.
I sometimes picked the last dance. 3 hours sitting in Penn Station debating whether I had made the correct decision.
Oh my God. I mean, hey, you know, good time, let the good times roll, as they say. So now a question I have for you, like you said, really being 18, 19, of course, you being from Long Island, but taking more trips within and into the city. And also, like you said, going to classes, then people kind of giving you the lowdown on what's happening, where is it happening. So do you even remember the first social you went to?
So I remember the first social, but these parties I was going to were more house music and hip hop. So at the time
Mm,
I was doing more like house dance and like the dances that fall under the hip hop umbrella, I guess. So like
yeah.
popping, whacking, locking, and the clubs I was going to at the time more reflected that dance. But the first social I went to for salsa was Candela Fridays, um, about 8 years ago, and it
Mm.
blew my mind. I didn't get into partner dancing for a really long time. I think I was extremely independent as a child, and I had a
Hmm.
lot of like gender role issues in general, and I
Hmm.
did not like to be told what to do with my body.
Yes.
And I just in okay, so most of my dancing was positive, and that was like independent dancing. When
Yeah.
it got to partner dancing, I had several negative experiences in a row that I was like,
Mm.
I hate this. I don't want anybody touching me. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I don't
Mm.
want to listen to someone else's musicality. I just want to dance by myself. And I felt that way for a really long time. And I feel like only maybe I was 27,
Mm.
but I waited until I was 27 to really try again,
Wow.
and give it a chance. And the only reason I did was because I won a pass to an event that no longer exists, called the International Partner Dance Intensive. And the organizer is Paula Wilson, and she is a most amazing, phenomenal, well-rounded partner and solo dancer. And she is a genius and set up this festival where she made individual schedules for every single person that attended
Wow.
based on their own dance experiences, and whether or not they were like beginner, intermediate, advanced for these 6 dances that she had chosen. And because I won this pass, I was like, I
I guess I
will
should go.
try partner dancing again. I will give it another shot. And if this comes back to be phenomenal, or I will never do this again. And I walked in the first day, and they
Mhm.
gave this like opening speech, and they said, "Partner dancing for us is about conversation. It is
Mm.
it's about connection. It's about connecting with another person and having a shared moment." And I was just like, what? Why did I never experience it like this before? I feel like what I had before, oh, I love you too. I don't know who you are though. But the like my experiences had always been very like the lady is an ornament, and
Mm.
the man tells you what to do, and you do it in the most graceful and beautiful way possible. And I was like, F that. That doesn't
Hey,
sound like me at all, but
I
thanks.
mean, hey, and big shout out to Guy Lavelle out there with
Love you guys.
Revolution, giving big shout out and big love. And Serena, even something you said earlier that really hit was you having those unfortunate experiences within that world. And it instead of it really kind of distancing yourself forever, you actually said, you know what, let me give this another chance. Because it's important you said that, because we also probably know people or understand situations with people that it really just shifts them away from the scene. If those unfortunate and uncomfortable experiences, especially happening to women, is the reason a lot of people leave this type of community, because it's seen to be a safe haven. But when you're dancing styles that ultimately make you have to be as close as possible, it's a responsibility. In my honest opinion, it's a responsibility between two dancers having a connection, but also having a balance and boundary. And a question I have really is, within, like you said, being in the hip hop world and kind of then going to really your first social, what do you feel kind of is the atmosphere truly different? Is there really a big similarity or big difference between kind of the two worlds?
So I do think there are some significant differences, but
Hmm.
uh, I think it also depends. I mean, even within each scene, there are multiple smaller scenes. Like
Hmm.
each individual studio for salsa, or
Yeah.
each city has its own uh, vibe, and people who have grown, I guess, like sort of to the upper echelon of being able to guide the way that a
Hmm.
scene feels, whether or not it feels welcoming or whether or not it feels kind of clicky.
Yeah.
Like certain studios feel that way, where like you walk in and those people only dance with each other and they only dance with people they know, and if you don't know them, then like you have to ask each person, and you may be getting a lot of no's. Or there are studios that are really open, where they're like, they have no idea who you are, but you walked in, they're like, hey, what's your name? Come on in, I'll introduce you around. Like, I feel like that it isn't specific to the dance form, but I do think that, like, in general, I think the hip hop community is more interested in, and I also say this because it was more than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I think at the time that they were more interested in, um, like the idea of ciphering and like freestyling and just like having a conversation within a group of
Hmm.
people, where like now I feel like people are really focused on choreography and,
Yeah.
like having these like little clips to post on the internet to like, um, to go viral. Like that concept
Hmm.
didn't even exist then. Like we didn't even have smartphones at that point. Like it's just, you had your tiny flip phone that if you had to make a phone call, you could, but there
Yeah.
barely even texting. Like none of this like Instagram, TikTok,
Oh
Facebook,
yeah.
none of this was popular.
There was a
And so
life before Instagram, before YouTube. There, it
exactly,
was
like I
different.
feel like people think I'm very young, and so they're like, "You don't know nothing about that." I'm like, no,
But you're
no,
young, Serena. You're young.
I mean, okay, I think the salsa scene is very young, and so people that
Mm.
uh, connect with me when we trade ages, I'm like, oh shit, they're like 24, 25. I'm like, I'm turning 36. Like this is
Come
I've been young for
on.
a little while. I'm not old, but I'm not young. And I think this is helpful because I think that there are a lot
Hmm.
of young women that have spent most of their years only in the salsa scene, and so they don't
Yeah.
know what it could be like, what it could feel like,
Mm.
and so they just accept the way that things are because it's the way it's been, you
The
know?
status quo.
Yeah, but like because I've come from other dance forms and I've seen the like the Western dance scene, I've seen the like hip hop scene, I've seen the belly dance scene. Like I've experienced other things where I'm like, it doesn't have to be like this. I know that because I've experienced something different.
Yeah.
Guys, stop.
I mean, hey, you're young, you're seasoned. How about that? We'll say that. But
Experienced,
yes,
but not old.
experience. Yes, but also something you're saying that's really important. You having experience in various dance forms, I think also was really appealing because me as well during those years as well. I was a video. I mean, starting out videography and seeing you loving to follow, but also loving to lead. And that was really something I love because don't get me wrong, there is sometimes that representation, maybe once in a while, but having a person who's really solely focused on learning both styles or both ways, really, understanding the leading style, the following style, but just making it look effortless when you're on a social forum. I mean, hey, it really also depends on the partner, but for me, seeing you, it was different. It was refreshing because hey, I think also you didn't realize you did inspire other women, other same sex dancing more encouraged it because don't get me wrong, I've seen many women who know how to lead a lot better than men, and I will say that. So yes, I have to. Yeah, you can dust your shoulders off if you want. But for me, seeing you as well, and now we'll get into that is the topic of belly dancing because, like you said, you coming into scene about 8 years ago. My real recollection of you from the beginning was really through, of course, social dancing, but then you actually starting to perform and doing then these belly dancing routines. And also, we've talked as well, realizing New York has so many events, so many teams, so many companies. It's endless. So, I mean, coming to these socials, you got 6 shows, people really want to see a show. And for me, I told you as well, was having you first be solo, second, doing belly dancing, a different form what people are accustomed to, and still captivating the audience. That truly is special. So, for me, my question is, during those times of, really performing at places like Andela and other socials like that, what were those experiences like for you?
So I avoided performing in the salsa scene for a really long time, or what I
Mm,
consider to be a long time. And when I agreed to perform, I told them I would not perform a Latin solo.
mm,
If I'm going to perform, it's going to be something that I feel I am a professional in.
mm.
At the time, that was belly dance. Like, only in the last year, honestly. My first Latin fusion solo was last January, right before the shutdown. That was the first
Wow.
time that I was willing to perform a Latin fusion solo because I didn't feel like I was ready. And so both Alex and Alejandro had asked me, like they knew I did other dance forms, and
Hmm.
they were like, "Do you perform?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Do you perform solos?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." I mean, I travel and I teach and I perform solos, sure. They were like, "Will you do it here?" And I was like, "Ah."
Ah.
Give her some time. But when I finally agreed, I was like, okay, I will do a belly dance solo. They were like, we want something different anyway. They're like,
Mm.
every show is the same thing, so
Yes.
like let's switch it up. So sure. And I was like, all right, you know what? If that's what you're looking for, I can do that. And it
Mm.
was interesting because it did feel uh it felt a little strange knowing
Mhm.
like this is a salsa or a bachata social and I'm not performing the genre that
Yeah.
everyone's coming here for. But I also got a lot of really great feedback of people like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before. Like, I can send people to try new things. And like the older I get, the more I feel like my purpose uh, in dance with experiencing other
Yeah.
people is to push people outside of their comfort zone.
Yes.
Not in a negative way, but just like you don't have to sit in this box just because you know it. In fact, it's
Mm.
better if you go try something different. You may find that whatever it is that's outside brings you even more joy. And that's great.
Oh my God. I mean, hey, for me, I feel like you're like the female Bob Ross. Like the painter just throwing gems out there. I mean, I feel like you've just been studying everything and really putting things into perspective. For me, hearing you, it's amazing to hear your honesty and transparency because realizing that, like you said, as you've grown as an artist who's been in different dance forms, now going really from the hip hop world really into kind of the Latin world and like you said, going into salsa first, I believe,
Hmm.
and then as well after, you do your belly dancing, you're doing your performances, but then also you being um, a witness to kind of the New York scene going into bachata, and that was something different for me because now people are going to be closer than ever, and realizing, hey, it could be fun, but also there could be some issues that are going to come up along the way. And for me as well, I've been a huge advocate on really helping create a safer dance scene. And one situation that I notice, especially that I feel really needs to stop as well, is when I've seen people like you, Serena, who do following and leading, dancing maybe with a female. And then a guy feels they should step in, interrupt your dancing, and then take you out to go dancing. Like he's saving people. And that's something I've really, it's always irked me as a videographer, as a dancer, as a just a passerby. It's like those situations of people not respecting your space. And then especially with bachata, I think we understand the body rolls, the dips, and hey, I'm all for body movement, but there's a time and a place when it's just you're doing too much. I mean, so really, my question really is from coming really from the salsa scene and seeing how bachata really kind of has taken over, really in New York as well, in my opinion. What are really your experiences and thoughts really on kind of the bachata scene and how it's headed? From the modern traditional setting to now really the sensual. And now we got everything trap chata, we got all different styles. But from an artist's standpoint, how do you see the evolution of dance, especially in New York? Ben?
So I'm not going to get super petty. I know there are some people that want it.
Oh, I just wanted honest.
I know. I didn't mean specifically you.
Gotcha.
But I think that I haven't spent an awful lot of time in the bachata scene, to be totally honest.
Yes.
And I think part of it was that I had knee injuries for about a year and a half that I was dealing with because of salsa, actually. Just because of I was dancing at a place that had a sort of sticky floor and a leader that wasn't super gentle. It only takes a second. It's literally one move, 1 second, and it can put you out for a year and a half, and it's really crazy.
Wow.
But it was this one move where he led a really aggressive prep that felt like I was gonna go this way, and then he changed the direction really fast, and like my body went one way and my knee went the other, and I was just like, oh.
You were not finishing that dance, hopefully.
No, I'm gonna go walk that off. And he was just like, oh, sorry, and like went off and found someone else. Like that
I'm sorry to laugh.
Me. No, I mean it's funny in its ridiculousness at just how fast that's able to happen.
Yeah.
And how even when you dance defensively, if you let down your guard for the split second, just 1 second, and like I knew as soon as I started that dance that I was gonna need to be careful.
Oh.
And I still like anyway, so I was dealing with some knee problems. And whenever I went into the bachata room, I would say, like, listen, I'm dealing with knee problems. Like, I look like I'm healthy and I look like I can do all of this, but I don't feel that way. And so if you can take it easy, like no dips or like really deep bends or any sort of like weird body movements that might bother it. And like the leads could not adapt.
Oh my God.
And so I just avoided dancing bachata, like unless I had an escort into and out of the room. Like I knew the person and they'd be like, hey, do you want to go dance bachata? And I'd be like, yeah, but like 2 songs and then you got to walk me out, you know? That was my experience for like a long time because the dances weren't comfortable. They lead something really deep and it was like, oh, it hurts and I can't avoid it. Oh, Kyla, I love you.
Yes, big shout out to Kyla out there from Nashville. But it's really important what you're saying, Serena, because I think as well, people don't understand, even though we're social dancing, it is important to respect the other dancer, especially when the other or your partner is telling you, hey, at this point, can you just take it easy? Because again, like you said, you can look perfectly healthy, but in reality, you're not. You're taking a risk by going there, evidently, but at least people should understand, hey, dancers' bodies break down sometimes. And unfortunately, it's due to people who don't have the appropriate lead, not the strong lead, the appropriate lead, because I think that's a huge issue. Because I think especially with men who lead, they really feel by using tons of force, it's going to get to them from plan A to plan B. But realizing if your partner's not in accordance, it's not going to go well. So I hopefully that is a lesson learned, not just really from you, but really from the lead standpoint of really be more gentle. to your follow. Have an experience. Don't just force them to go where you want and do 7 to 8 turns.
Yeah.
It's
I
true. I mean,
part of my journey into learning to lead was recognizing that uh, I could give feedback to
yeah.
leads, and some of them would accept it, and others would be like, "You don't know what you're talking about. You don't lead." Like, okay, but listen, I know my body, and I've danced with way more leads than you have,
Yeah.
so I think I know how it could
Yeah.
feel. And like it feels the same as this conversation before where I'm like, I've
Mhm.
been in other dance communities. I've seen what it could be. Like I've danced with other leads who are capable of leading this move in a gentle and clear way. I know it could feel different. If you just listen to me, I can tell you how. But because of the fact that I was only a follow, I would love to lead you. um, because I only knew how to follow. I feel like there was a segment of the community that did
Mhm.
not respect my opinion on how
Mm.
it could be done, because I've never done it myself. And so I sort of started feeling like, well, fine, I will learn it myself and I'll learn to do it the correct way. And then you'll see that it's totally possible. And uh, in some ways, it's been really easy because I have felt all of these moves before. And in some ways, it's still insanely difficult. And perhaps more difficult than I even thought it was going to be. So, like, I have a lot of
Mm.
respect for beginner leads
Yes.
and getting out there and like asking people to dance when you literally have a vocabulary of like 5 moves. And like, I feel like I have always said yes
Hmm.
because I know that like in order to make an inclusive scene, you have to individually be inclusive. Um,
Yes.
but like now that I've started learning to lead, I'm like even more in that mindset of like I want to foster good
Hmm.
lead behavior. And if you're dancing with beginners, like they learn from dancing with good follows
Mm.
of like how to be gentle, how to lead clearly. You can like back lead that a little to give them a good shape of uh, their their pathways, stuff like this. Like
Yeah.
you can teach them from behind as a follow dancing with beginner leads. It is better to dance with them than to let them grow up only dancing with beginner follows and
Mm.
make all the mistakes. They'll never fix them if they only dance with beginners.
Man, just again another gem just dropped. I mean, hey, I'm just soaking it all in. And but then also realizing now as we transition really moving forward, as he talked really January 2020 was the last time that you actually you went from, like you said, doing belly dancing, so you were actually in the process of doing a Latin dance routine. And now January 2020 was kind of the last time you were able to. Then kind of moving forward and COVID hitting, and it hitting our dance community really hard. Whether just the dance spaces we're not able to dance on, or even some dancers that we know unfortunately passing away within our community due to COVID, and realizing now over a year later, we're slowly really finding a sense of normalcy. Things, of course, are opening up. Cases are really going down, but also realizing our scene really is different. With many people don't maybe not realize, but our scene is different. Maybe it's the new influx of people coming in, people from the past not really coming back and finding other alternatives. My question really to you is, from kind of last year till currently now, how have you been able really to adjust during this kind of time period?
So over the last year, um, I was able to focus a lot more on leading because there really weren't any events to go to where I would be able to follow, you know?
Mm.
And so in a way it was lucky for me. And I know that I am extremely privileged to even have had like a relatively stable 2020. Um, dare I even say like a relatively positive 2020,
Mm.
because of the fact that a lot of my friends were not highly affected, or um, a lot of them worked from home, were able to transition to working from home. We were able to maintain some semblance of like a being able to meet up and dance. Like Kate and I agreed that we would get together and we would practice together. And because of the fact that we both want to learn to lead and follow, it ended up being sort of the perfect arrangement where like we literally have nothing but time. So
Yeah.
let's get together multiple times a week and just like practice. We were getting together for sometimes like 6 hours a week, and like trading lead and follow. And so we just like sort of busted out the first maybe 2 years of
Mhm.
what would normally take 2 years to learn. I feel like we did in a number of months, just because we had the time to focus.
Yeah.
Um, and so like that worked out for me. I did feel a little. I'm going to be honest. I
Yeah.
did feel a little uncomfortable with the way that the bachata and the on two scene handled the pandemic.
Mhm.
Just the I feel like there was a lower level of social responsibility than I would have liked, and
Absolutely.
so even when events started in 2020, I kind of avoided them. I'm only really going back now to like onto events, but I sort of fell into the casino scene. Yes,
Mm.
yes, Kate. We are gentle leaders we wish to see in the world. We have to be good examples, and that emulates out into our web, and the
Mm.
web grows. So I sort of fell into the like timba and Cuban casino
Mhm.
scene. They have a lot of lady leads, which is
Mm.
like an absolute anomaly in the on two scene. I very rarely see
Yeah.
any women leading at socials on two. There are a handful. They're out there.
They're a handful, but
Like,
there should be so many more.
yeah. But like casino, there are a bunch of them, and they're teachers. They're like
Mm.
teachers at the head of the community. So you like know them and you see them and they dance together. And there are a lot of men that follow. Um, and like straight men. Not that it matters, but like
Yeah.
I feel like in the on two scene, it's very like women don't lead, and if men follow, they're gay, and it just has
Yeah.
this like it's a never ending cycle of like, well, I can't follow because then I'll be perceived as gay,
Yeah.
and I can't lead because there are no other lady leads to emulate. And so it just never changes. But when we saw the casino scene, we were like, oh, there are a bunch of men that just like to follow because it's fun, and it is. Like um, once you get past the like beginner stages of being like, I don't know what the hands mean,
Mhm.
it becomes this like relaxing. You don't have to think about it. Like when the lead is really clear and gentle, you literally like it's like the most chill game of whack a mole. You're just like,
Oh my god. I love that analogy.
like it's fun, it's
Yeah.
fulfilling. You like complete the challenge, but the challenge is super easy, and you just shut your brain off and do what comes in front of your face. And like once I got to that point, I was like, oh, this is addictive.
Mm.
I don't have to think about what comes next. I can literally just like listen to the music and
Mhm.
let someone else gently drive me through the song. Like just
Wow.
guide me through the all of these like gentle turns and patterns, and I can do whatever I want in the middle. That sensation is beautiful. And I feel like if more men got to experience it without there being this like negative connotation
Yeah.
about it, they would love it. They would want to follow all the time because leading is stressful. You like you're not just guiding
Mhm.
clearly and gently, but you're also like space managing and like
Yes.
trying to have musicality and
Yeah.
be interesting, but like not too difficult, but not boring, and making sure you don't crash into anybody, and like eye contact, but not too much eye contact, and like
And
close, but not too close.
timing. Everything has to be on
Yeah.
time within everything. So it's a multitude. I mean, I think from the leading standpoint and following, it's a connection that both partners have to build. It's not just, as they say, Rome wasn't built in one day. But now, really, kind of my last question before we get into our last video, before the segment that I have called the randoms is, really understanding, like you said, now you kind of coming really back into the scene. What is really your outlook for you now, coming back within the scene? Do you feel that you're just going to handle things differently? Are you really more focused on not just the salsa scene, the bachata scene, the zouk scene, the West Coast swing scene? Are you more focused on just being involved in everything, or kind of staying focused in one kind of genre?
So the short answer is I don't know.
Gotcha.
The slightly longer answer is I want to do all the things. I always want to do all
Mm,
the things. The problem is I don't have the time and the
yeah.
energy uh, and the ability to split myself into 4 different humans in order to do all the things. And so I do have to prioritize. Um,
Hmm.
and I feel like right now, because of the fact that Kate and I are working so closely, like our priority right now is developing our on-to leading. We like we did a decent job. All the things we did a job of like getting to the point where I feel like we are good, clean, advanced beginner to intermediate casino leads. Like I can give
Mm,
a good casino dance. It's gonna be mostly basics. I can do a handful of like fancy tricks, but chances are I'm just gonna give the follower space to
yes.
enjoy the music. And like that's where I want to be. I could add more fancy tricks as I go, but like I like that level of being like
Yeah.
I can give a good comfortable dance. It doesn't have to have all the fancy
Yeah.
whatever. But honestly, like if the follower isn't ready for that or isn't feeling that, that's stressful. It's
Yeah.
better to have it be super chill and they can add their ornamentation, and I'm just like a good clean base.
Mm,
But I don't feel that confidence in on two, and I want to. Um,
mm.
so our newest goal is on two clean, intermediate, non frilly leading. And then after that, I would like to have that sort of competence in bachata.
Mm.
I definitely lean towards, I guess, what people describe as like modern slash
Yeah.
Dominican bachata. Like, I don't feel like I have to be like learning how to
Yeah.
body roll and all of this. And like, I'm tiny, and so I feel like a lot of things that are weight bearing will take a lot of work for me to feel confident
Mhm.
doing. So like I don't need those things right now. I'm really just working on like nice basics in all of the
Yes.
dances. So like casino first, then on two, then bachata. Our next goal, well, my next goal, Kate can decide if she wants to join me. Brazilian zouk,
Mm.
and then kizomba. We both want like a nice, comfortable intermediate bass in kizomba as well. So we want all 5, but we've been
Hey,
focusing on the salsa 2 for now.
I mean, I love it. The fact that you really are, as they say, a student of the game. Really focused on studying everything, just being well knowledge and well versed in all of these dance forms that you really are interested in. And now, before we get into our last segment called the randoms, right now we're playing a promo for the upcoming Dallas Bachata Festival this October 14th through the 17th. This is the Halloween party and what to expect. Check it out.
necesito ya de ti. Solo vuelve, 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 baby. Me urges aquí dentro de mí. Solo vuelve, vuelve, vuelve. Oh, girl. Cada segundo es un mundo que pasa por mi mente cuando no estás aquí, baby. Mi ganas de amarte, tocarte de nuevo se apoderan de mi lady. Y me perdí, enloquecí. Dime ya si no es así. Pero así no tendré que darte un beso, yeah, yeah, para poder explicarte, yeah, yeah, todo esto lo que siento, oh, oh, porque palabras no tengo, oh, girl, para así darte un beso, para poder explicarte, yeah, yeah, todo esto lo que siento, no, porque palabras no tengo, girl, no tengo, girl, mírame y dímelo, mi mirada te dice todo, entre tú y yo hay un modo, llámanos otra vez como loco, pero entiendo que ya no, que lo que pasó ya pasó, no me niegues, baby, que yo sé que nadie te ha amado como yo, como yo, como yo. Solo vuelve, 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 baby. Necesito de ti, necesito de ti. Para así no tener que darte un beso, girl, para poder explicarte, para poder todo esto lo que siento, porque palabras no tengo, oh, girl, para así darte un beso, para poder explicarte, yeah, yeah, todo esto lo que siento, no, porque palabras no tengo, no tengo, girl, no tengo, girl, no tengo, girl, no tengo palabras, solo siento todo, yo, girl, solo vuelve, vuelve, vuelve.
Hey, hey, all the craziness in there. Hey, thank you guys again for listening and watching again this Dallas Bachata Festival promo. Serena, honestly, from really start to finish of our interview tonight, it's really been special. And I always love doing this last segment with every one of my guests called The Randoms, which is about 10 questions that allows me to get to know you a little bit better than I did before. So, Serena, all I need to know is when you are ready.
Let's do it.
Hey, number one, we're going to go softball here. Favorite color?
Blue.
Okay. Number two, if you could be at a Zook social right now and you had one follow, who is it?
So I am not a great Zook lead yet, but I had one dance with Adora Lynn.
Oh, yes.
Does all the things. She's phenomenal, absolutely incredible dancer. And we we were at Solas, and I was very hesitant and was like, "Would you follow if I?" And she was like, "Yeah, let's do it. That sounds amazing." And we just like it was all mostly body isolations because I like don't have any good turn patterns. It was literally just like the most huggy, flowy dance, but it was amazing. And at the end of it, she was like, "I'm gonna go home and like journal about how good that dance was." And I feel like I understand how you move. And I was like, whoa.
Wow. But see, I asked you that question, not even knowing the backstory within it. You know, so realizing, like you said, you may not be like the best dancer in Zouk, but you've had those experiences with people that, that are memorable. So I'm glad I asked that question. Now for number 3, Serena, what is a huge pet peeve of yours when somebody is dancing with you?
If they don't make eye contact, uh, and it's more than eye contact, but it's like the lack of connection. Like if I don't feel like they're dancing with me, if it could be
Yes.
literally anyone else or no one else, and they would be absolutely the same, that drives me crazy. Like, why are we dancing together if you don't want to dance
Mhm.
with me? What's going on? So
Hey.
like there are times where if people don't make eye contact, I'll like miss leads on purpose. And then
Oh.
when they finally look at me, I'm like, if you're not looking for me, I'm not going to look for you. And there are some people that it really bothers and they like never ask me again, but I can't
Hey.
stand those.
Lesson learned. They understand now. Hey, we need to actually, if you're gonna have the confidence to ask me to dance, at least pay attention to me. Let me know that I'm there. That's simple.
Right?
I mean, it's not really hard to ask for, especially because we know, especially salsa songs. We're talking about 4 or 5 minutes, some songs, and yeah,
With a
nothing's
band of
worse
like
than
8-minute songs,
yeah.
you're gonna look at me. You're gonna look.
I'm here. I'm here. God damn it. All right, number 4 right now. If you could have a store right now, what is the name of that store?
I don't even know that I know a product. um, yeah, I don't even know. I don't know what I see. This has been a
Hmm.
problem my whole life. I am a horrible saleswoman. The
Oh,
worst,
okay. Fun fact.
worst saleswoman ever. I like can't sell myself for shit. And like I think I have valuable things to sell. I just don't like to sell them.
Hmm.
Uh, so like I'm trying to think like what would I want to sell? And I feel like um, the the ability to connect with one's own body.
Hmm.
But I do very well with just like one on one. I don't feel like I
Hmm.
really like group classes.
Yeah.
I like to be able to individualize everything. Um, and so a really boring name for that would be one on one body comfort. That's what
I
I want to
mean,
sell. If you
I mean,
want that, call me.
hey, there you have it. Next one is if you could be at a salsa event right now, you could have one lead or one follow. Who is that person?
Mm,
Made you think.
yeah. Shit. See, and like I knew I should have prepared these answers ahead of time.
That's why I love. That's why I love just throwing them at because it makes
You
you think, and that's a
know,
good
let's
thing.
make Guy's dreams come true. Because Guy chose me.
Yes.
We owe each other a dance. And I have been meaning to dance with Guy, and then the pandemic happened, and we like never. Guy's awesome.
I
We
mean,
should dance. Hey, Guy, we should dance.
I mean, he's definitely looking forward to that. So,
Afosa also. Afosa's gonna learn salsa, and then we can dance. I led him in one dance, and he was like, "This is hard." But also, I could see how this would be enjoyable, and I was like, "Come to the dark side." He tries to do this with Zook. He tries to convince everyone to go
yeah.
to Zook, and
Yes.
I'm trying to lure him to salsa.
Oh my God. All right. All
So
right.
there we go.
Next question.
Those are my lead and follow.
Hey, there you go. Next question is if you could have one meal right now, what is it?
it is really hot in here. So I'm gonna go for something nice and cool. I would like some sushi, please.
Hey, California roll. We're going shrimp tempura. What we doing?
So I have this favorite roll from a place that's near here, and I've never seen this roll before in my life. But it's called the Dancing Lobster, and I've seen the Dancing Lobster in other places, but it's not this.
It's not
Whatever
this.
it is, it's different. But if you're ever in Brooklyn, in Sunset Park area,
Hey.
text me, and I'll send you the name of the place that makes this roll. It's I think it's shrimp tempura and like lobster salad and avocado and mango and
Mm.
this really strange like kind of like pesto mayo over the top, which sounds like it would be really weird, but it's incredible. And everyone I've ever made try this roll has been like, that's the best sushi I've ever had in my life.
Hey, there you go. I love that answer. Next question is, if you could be at one event right now, what would it be? We're talking about all of the dance events you've been to. What is one event that comes straight to your mind?
Wow. ZoukMX.
Mm.
ZoukMX was amazing. So, like, I've been to a lot of dance events, um, but I've never been to one that had so many outdoor parts of the event. So, like,
Mm.
some of the classes were outdoors, all of the parties were outdoors. They had the like intensive was held at a space that was open air that with a view of the beach, and they had one of the parties at that place as well, and they had massage chairs on the
Oh.
side of the social where you like I fell asleep getting an hour massage listening to the sounds of the ocean, and I woke up and went back to dancing. Like
Yeah.
that might be the winner. And I
All
was
right.
a beginner at the time, so I feel like I would enjoy it even more now that I like know what I'm
Mm.
doing as opposed to being like, I don't know anything.
Oh my God. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Next question is, if your name wasn't Serena and you can change your name right now, what would you change it to?
I don't know that I would.
Mm.
I like it. I know there are some people that are like, I don't know why my parents gave me this name. And like I've thought about it. I feel like they were hoping that I would be a calm child. They were like, Serene, let's call her Serena. Maybe she'll be super chill. Um, and like I
No.
have those moods, so like I feel like it fits me kind of well. And I've I've thought about it,
Mm.
and I've never found anything that I think fits me better. I
Mm.
like it.
Oh, all right. I respect that. Next one is, if hmm, if you could describe yourself in one word, what would it be? Mm.
Complicated.
I gotta respect that answer because hey, it takes a lot to be honest like that. So complicated, but we're getting somewhere. All right, next question, which is our last question. If you are, I'm gonna give you this. We're gonna be on an island. Give me an island you would be on right now.
Ooh, Cuba.
You're in Cuba. You have no cell phone service, no electrical service, and you can only have, and you're stranded on an island in Cuba. You can only have three things. What are they?
A solar powered speaker.
Smart. That's one.
um, wait, are my food and water taken care of? Am I okay?
I, no, they're not taken care of.
No.
So I mean, they're around you, but if you want to bring some food on, that's perfect.
as
But you
long
got some.
as long as I can survive, we can avoid bringing necessities, and it can just be the fun stuff. I feel like I can probably hunt and forage well enough. I might be all right. So we got my solar powered speaker. Um, let's bring Kate along.
Okay.
And what else might we like? That's funny. See, I'm a simple creature. I'm
Yeah.
like, give me music and a dance partner, and I think I'm gonna be okay.
All right. Well, there you go. You got your two answers. You got your solar powered speaker, and you got Kate. And I think that's all you need. You'll forage and find your way as well throughout time. But again, Serena, I
Perhaps a
really thank
pocket
you.
knife.
Hey, there you go. Number three, pocket knife. Keep it. You got it. And now it helps us transition really now to our last portion. Really is the closing portion. And Serena, from start to finish, I've really enjoyed our interview, learning about you, really from your humble beginnings, and realizing that you've really just been a person who's just loved dance, loved the happiness and really the joy it gives you, your journey throughout your years, kind of understanding the world you've been in, whether it's the hip hop world, whether it's the Zouk world, the Kizomba world, the salsa bachata world, realizing again that you really are a student of the game. But, for me, it's also celebrating how successful I believe you've been and how really transformative you've been within our scene. I really can say, from my opinion, seeing you more and more, especially in the salsa scene throughout the years, has really helped inspire other females as well that I've seen doing a lot more leading and really breaking those gender norms, which I think we need to keep doing. So, for me, having you on has been an honor. For me, kind of being able to have you share your story is special. And before we go, I would love to know if you had any last few words for myself and the audience.
Thank you. I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening. I want to thank you for inviting me and having me and thinking that I'm successful. That's so sweet.
Yes, I believe you are.
I feel like I have never had a set pathway, and so I don't have a definition of what success looks like aside from
Mhm.
just enjoying what I have been doing. And I've been enjoying it, and it's because of all of you. So thank
Yes.
you. I think, aside from all of the pleasure that dance gives me, the second most enjoyable thing is the people that I get to meet and the people that
Yeah.
I get to talk to and connect with. And you all have a special place in my heart, and I want to thank you for being that community for me. I really appreciate it. So I love you, and I hope to see you all soon, whether you're in New York or not. I will travel the world to dance with you,
Mm.
uh, and I hope it's soon.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, I thank you so much, Serena, for tonight. I thank you, everyone, for tuning in, everyone that will be tuning in. It's been another amazing episode of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast, episode 134 with the one and only Serena Spears. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Tomorrow, we will be talking to the one and only Dave Paris. So, everyone, thank you again for tuning in. It's been another great episode. Thank you, Serena. Everyone, see you soon and take care.